Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HSEL Nationals. It is an amazing day for Overwatch. We are looking forward to seeing the matchup today as we look to try and again see which one of these teams is going to go into the opportunity to try and claim that prize pool.
There's kids that are in my program that would walk around and have nobody at school to talk to. And now those same kids have like a great group of friends. They're happier. Their parents are ecstatic. Why wouldn't you want to give that to a group of kids that don't have it? Just because you don't understand it.
Okay, yes, they're playing video games, but you gotta look past that and also see why are they playing it and what are they doing with it.
There's not a lot of knowledge about gamers out there, so people just don't know what they don't know.
Really collaborative, like a sport. I mean, it is a sport. I mean, it's new that I think it's hard for people to understand that it's a sport.
They have to develop teamwork like any other physical game does.
We got to get rolling. This is where it becomes big time. We've been working all year for this. SLP on 3. 1, 2, 3. SLP!
Thank you so very much for all of you who have tuned in and watched the HSEL Nationals. The 5-map pool today will be Hollywood, Kings Row, Nepal, Lijiang Tower, and Oasis.
I mean, it's interesting to see just how many schools there are this year and how many schools you're beating out to be in the top 8. It's insane.
Joseph is our youngest. He's 17. He was diagnosed with autism at age 4. Not an excuse. He's still Joseph.
Everybody is welcome. You want to come play esports for me? Come play for me. That is the mentality that we have in esports. All right, here we go. St. Louis Park looking for that repeat national title. The only #1 seeds left in the tournament. Nova Kid does drop. Tosi is now on. Now he's feeling it. Get these shots, Tosi. Now he's feeling it. Boom. The point of this is for people to find a place where they belong, make friends, learn discipline, learn teamwork, learn reaction to setbacks.
Triple kill coming out in favor of SLP as they now are starting to look to turn it around.
Frank, I got you. Nice job here. You're confident.
Another solid hold here with an entire team kill for SLP.
When he plays, he wins.
To see if they can keep it into overtime, and that's not going to be enough. That will be SLP claiming the first 3 victories here, best of 5, and they will be going into the finals.
Well, we move on.
Hello and welcome to a big night of HSEL action here. First off, we've got some Smash Brothers followed up later by some chess action. So a lot of stuff to get to tonight, and I'm excited to bring it all to you. Alongside me is K-Wing. I'm Shope, and it's going to be an exciting night tonight. I can't wait to get into this.
Absolutely. There's a lot on the line here. We're coming in to these finals between NinjaMez and Sword. Both of these players have had incredible runs going through. As we look at the standings, they're in the 4th and 3rd seed. NinjaMez in the 4th seed, Sword in the 3rd. Just looking at this, that separation is 1 game. Sword won 1 game, and NinjaMez lost 1 game. And that's the difference between these two. And it's such a small difference, but we'll have to see if it'll come out in Sword's favor.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this one will go here. Sword has been really kind of dominating these HSEL events for the most part. Everyone that I've gotten to do, Sword has won. So let's take a look at his path to now when he's going to go up against NinjaMez here. In the finals, you can see a crack shot seeded number 24, but upsetting a lot of people, taking it to a game 7 there in the upper side of the bracket. But Sword pretty cleanly through. Tenga took 2 games off of him, but a sweep on Skittles in the semifinals to get here. As clean as ever for him. He's been looking very good since the first time I've seen him play, and looking to really kind of defend his title as the top HSEL player.
Yeah, I mean, de facto, the top HSEL player, and now coming into these finals, looking to keep that going strong. Of course, we do know our first map, and that is going to be Smashville. So, pretty interesting choice there for Smashville. We did have some bans come in terms of what we're not going to be seeing. But what are we thinking about that, Shope, in terms of the map?
It's a pick I've seen a few times, and it brings you back to the last game in Smash Brothers, Smash 4, where Smashville tended to be the starter stage for everyone. You've gotten away from that here in Ultimate over the couple of years that it's been out, but it's still a stage that I think a lot of characters like to play on. Now the platform stationary in almost every rule set, so gives it a little bit different vibe from a lot of other stages, just because not a lot of them have that dead center platform right above you that you can kind of just hover under for protection to try to keep aerials from landing on top of you. So we'll see how they use that to their advantage, but I think it'll be pretty neutral here to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see sort of also these character picks that are going to come out. I mean, you talked about the platforms, and you really do want to make sure that your character is one that's going to be taking advantage of these platforms. But here we go. We have the Bowser, Ninja Mez on the Bowser versus Sword. Already, Ninja Mez just getting knocked off so early, yielding a little bit of stage control. Going to take it right back already. Yeah. Oh, that's a combo.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. You can already see right now he's taking a lot of the middle of the stage. And, Bowser, one of the top tier characters here in this game, has a lot of really good matchups, especially when you're playing online. And it has a lot of tools that are just difficult for people to deal with. But Chrom has the ability to deal with them, right? With that disjoint, with the ability to get in and out. We'll see if he can do that here, as he's already taking a little bit of a lead over on Ninja. But the side B into the middle of the stage is going to get some action here as the Ether back towards the platform. And this is going to be an issue, I think, here. It is the Bowser controlling the space with his Flame Breath here from the middle of the stage.
Yeah, that Flame Breath, when it's fully charged up, can do so much damage. And speaking of so much damage, that's the thing with Bowser. I always talk about this. I talk about Bowser as a character. He can take a lot of punishment. He's one of the heaviest characters in the game. Well, and then he just gets immediately thrown off the stage. And he can deal out damage. He can take damage, and he can give it out. So Ninja Mez equalizing, but it just takes a few hits to get up to kill percentage when you're facing off against a Bowser.
Yeah, it definitely does, and that is the problem here with him. He can be so deadly, but we're talking about Chrom as well here, and Chrom has some definite early kill power. He's got the combo strings to go with it, and he trades that off for a little bit of a poor recovery, right? Like, he's got good stage presence. He can get in and out the way he wants to and get some combos going, but Ninja right now is doing a really good job of just coming back and forth on him and trying to make his space and get involved here, because once he gets him to the edge like that, he's just able to rack up the damage. Really, the Ether, the only tool there once he gets to the platform. The side B yet again, using that middle platform very well.
Oh, just predicting the roll, reading it like a book right into that up smash. And now Ninja Mez going into that final stock, just looking for a few more hits. There's going to be the parry. And, the command grab. Ninja Mez has just been hitting these perfectly throughout this entire stage thus far.
Yeah, it's looking like that he's doing a good job here, but that's a little bit low. Going to be all the way back, barely going to get those hands right onto the stage. That Sword, knowing his character, had the read there, but let the forward smash go a little bit too early. And now James over on the side trying to get the up tilt going in. Down there's, that's going to be a combo, but it's not going to get the connection on it. Not quite knowing his percentages on Bowser there. Still covering himself after he misses that fair with the up air and taking the stage control back. But Sword in a bit of a hole here. Down a whole stock and then almost 100% as he's trying to get the counter off the side. Gets the Ether to cover him back to the stage and can't find the kill yet. K-Wing, what's going on here, man? He's just missing on his conversions.
Yeah, you really need to get those conversions. He's getting the damage in, he's getting the damage in, but he's not getting what he would really want in that conversions. Like you're saying, he's not getting those really heavy hits. Like we saw early on in that first stock, we saw a lot of combos coming out from Sword, and now both of these players at very high percentages rather, very close to death. Bowser going to try and use the Fortress, will get hit off, and it's going to be a matter of inches between these two players. And there it is, the first map going to Ninja Mez.
Yeah, it looked like the James there was doing a really good job of just coming back when Sword would get the combos on him, right? And that's what you have to do as Crom. Bowser, kind of a reactionary character. You're going to take your lumps, but you have to be able to find your openings. And, not necessarily that hard to find. You've got a command grab in your side B. You've got pretty good range on most of your attacks. They're not quite disjointed. They may be on a couple of them, but still pretty good range on them. And they do so much damage that you just got to kind of patiently wait for your openings. And I thought he did a really good job of that. You could see some flubs from Sword where he had some of the reads that he was going for, but just missed the timing on them. And it looked like Ninjames did a really good job of handling that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when you're talking about Bowser, you have that range. With your neutral bleed, like you were talking about, you can really just go through anywhere and you can hit someone in the middle of the stage. Going back into Smash Battle now, as just that flame breath again, like we said, able to pepper in a little bit of damage. Now there's Sword. There's a little bit of those combos that we were missing later in that first map. Now we're gonna have to see if it will continue, as now there comes a few forward airs from Ninjamez to equalize, and really playing this well, really getting that pressure and just peppering in that damage.
Yeah, and I think Sword's doing a really good job right now of knowing his recovery height, right? Like he's using the ether, throwing the sword up to cover him when he goes to the ledge, and that's a very precise height right there to be able to hit. And he's done it a couple of times here on Ninjames, and has been able to kind of give him to get back on the recovery. But here we go. This is what we're talking about. The tech chase reads are so important as Crom. You can put them in so many situations. You go down tilt into another one as he goes for it all right here with the ether, trying to go a quick up 2 stocks early, but he's going to actually die for it. Maybe a little bit too risky there.
Yeah, that's a stock that I'm pretty sure Sword is gonna want back, and definitely that's the risky plays that I do love personally seeing. But sometimes, when you're in the finals, you really sometimes maybe going for the risky play might not be the best when you have that 1K scholarship on the line here. Or maybe it is the time to put it all on the line and go for it. Might be a bit too philosophical for Smash Bros, but getting back in, 2 stocks were both pretty equal on the percent, but that was a pretty good ether up B from Sword. Now just both these playing on the platform, trying to get in, find that opportunity. There goes the fair as well.
Yeah, and you can see already that going early for that stock costing him back, because this is back into an even game when he had a pretty large lead. But you got to play like that, right? You've got to risk it to get the biscuit, baby. And you can see Sword here trying to come back on this one. He's going to ether just far enough off stage to not get hit by the Bowser forward smash. But the F tilt trying to read an approach from Ninjames coming in at him in the middle of the stage, but instead he's going to be outspaced and killed off of it. And now that stock lead that he had after the first kill, completely gone.
Completely gone and pretty much evaporated now. And now Sword has to play pretty perfect. That's a good start, but he's at 81%. That's dangerous against a Bowser with the amount of kill potential he has. But there's the combos we were seeing, not going for a lot of offstage play. Probably a little bit wary of it due to the beating and the punishment he received from that last time. But Sword pretty much has to play this perfectly going forward, and he's not gonna get it. Not with Ninjames. They're gonna go up 2-0.
Yes, that was fantastic stuff right there. And again, you come out Sword looking so strong, right? Like he comes out aggressively, he gets an early lead, but then he gets feeling himself a little bit too much. And I think he called it. That was a stock that he is going to wish that he had back. But still plenty of time left to go. Best of 7 here. He's going to have at least 2 more games to try to right the ship. But I thought that Ninjames did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a really good job from Ninjames. I think we talked a lot about this, and I don't want to harp on it too much on that unfortunate up B miss for Sword, but it's a difficult sort of it's just kind of difficult because you had that lead, and we even saw that even in the first game of Ninjames having that lead and having Sword having that lead going into that first stock, and then just a few small mistakes allowing Ninjames to get back into it. And speaking of that, yeah.
He did a really good job of getting back into that. But getting into things, man, I want to thank some of our sponsors here. Zaxby's is a proud sponsor of High School Esports League. No need to hit pause. Order Zaxby's famous chicken, sandwiches, and salads for pickup and delivery on the Zaxby's app or at Zaxby's.com. And thanks to those guys for supporting. I know, big fan of Zaxby's myself. Always the spot for chicken tenders or sandwiches, salads. Fantastic food. And speaking of some fantastic things, let's get into a game 3 and hope we get some, some fantastic action here. These games have been high-paced. They have ended really quickly, right? I feel like these stocks are flying by, but I think that's part of this matchup here with a Bowser and a Chrom that put out so much damage as we're going to move in to Battlefield for game 3.
Absolutely. That's it's pretty exciting. A lot of high damage. It just creates kind of really high octane fighting where just one small little mistake from either competitor could lead to serious damage or a stock loss. You aren't peppering in damage. Both of these characters have such high kill potential, and now you have a few more platforms on Battlefield, of course, and already Sword going right onto the offensive, hitting a good combo, coming in, and now gonna go again. Already a bit of damage onto Ninjames, looking to turn this around.
Yeah, you can already see he's changing his approaches a little bit, going with some more cross-ups, trying to mix up the way that he's coming at Ninjames. But Ninjames, I mean, he's just taking the damage. I mean, this is what Bowser does, right? You take it to your face, and then you give it right back when they get close enough to do it. And that's exactly what Ninjames is trying to do. Right there, he overextended a little bit. For the most part, he's just kind of waiting, letting Sword bring the game to him. And when he does, he's taking his trades well, and then he's getting the kills on the end of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of the stage control, and Ninjames is really keeping his distance when Ninjames is really keeping his distance when he needs to, but going in when he sees the opportunity and getting out. He's playing this so well, coming in for this precision strike and doing so much damage. Now he's almost up the full stock percentage lead too.
Yeah, he is, and he's about to get this next one. This is a rough position for Sword, and this is the danger of taking Bowser to Battlefield. I mean, it's a stage Bowser's love. The side B kills earlier here because you've got the platforms to help extend it. You can get all this stage control here. Like, again, we talked about it, his Flame Breath, using it to control space, using his huge hitboxes to get things going, forward throwing here. And now Bowser's basically in Bowser's castle here, which is Battlefield, staying in between these platforms, using it like a fortress, and just controlling everything Sword wants to do. And now with a 2-stock lead, it's going to be a long road to hope for Sword.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some glimmers of hope from Sword, but already going into this stock, it's not looking good. There's going to be the first kill, but Sword's going to need 2, and he's going to need to play it really well, especially against this Bowser. You cannot get hit by a Bowser. You can't get peppered because Bowser doesn't do pepper. Bowser does... I don't know what Bowser does, but he brings the heat.
Bowser hits you hard, man, and he takes it, takes it well with his tough guy, and so does a really good job of that right now. Is Ninjames is getting the grab again, and really all the percent is all he needs. These breath at the stage, in the edge of the stage, to rack on some percentage is really just going to help him out because this stock doesn't matter for him. He's up 1. He's waiting to see what he can find, and Sword has to play it. To perfection here. He's backing in and out, looking for a jab, trying to get some jab back here. Maybe he goes for the down tilt, finally gets the read on it again as well, but I think he covered all the options right there with where he stopped, roll in, roll away in. Tech, he did a really good job of that, and now he's brought this back. This is doable. He's going to have to get a combo going and see if he can end it. To the edge, stage control here, forward air towards the middle. Gonna wait and air dodge away. Great control from Sword, and Ninjames just taking his time. He's waiting. He wants that grab. He gets the upbeat, he gets some space, and now this is where he has thrived with Sword on the ledge. F-tilt misses, and the Ether bringing it back to the middle for a neutral reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, once Sword is on the edge, Ninjames has just gone for the kill like a hungry shark homing in the back throw. not going to hit, going to actually interrupt the ether. Not going to get the killing blow, but one hit is all Ninjames needs. Almost going to go off just with the one hit of the Whirling Fortress. And it's so dangerous here, but Sword very close to that kill percentage as well. It's going to be one good hit, and there it is! The forward air from Ninjames going to take down Sword, and that is going to be Ninjames going to match point.
Yeah, we're headed to match point here. And I mean, you know, I'm used to seeing Sword do this to other players here in the HSEL finals. He's typically come in and won them pretty handily. But right now, Ninjames is giving him all he can handle. And I think it's using his character to the best of his ability, right? Like he's knows that Crom's going to come in, he's going to get hits. He knows Crom is going to have stage control at points, but he's just got to wait for that opportunity. Get up, be out of shield, get a tilt on him, get him off stage. And then once you take that stage control as Bowser, fight as hard as you can not to give it back up. And that's exactly what Ninjames did there for the first two stocks to get such a huge lead there in game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Really going into that, you had, after those two stocks were lost, it was really looking bad for Sword, and props to them for even keeping it competitive at that point. We're going to still keep the same characters going in, Bowser and the Crom still facing off, but now Ninjames match point. One more win, and it's it. Now Sword has a mountain to climb, and there goes the combo. Not going to be a kill, but it's going to put a little bit of a stop to Ninjames. Probably just trying to stop this momentum that's really going so well for Ninjames. But there you go. That's that first stock, and Sword really trying to turn things around, really looking like you've awoken the beast, Ninjames.
Oh, no. That's going to be an SD. Yeah, oh my lord, you can see the misinput right there. He accidentally came in with a neutral B rather than the up B to get back to the stage, and that just takes too much time, has too much lag on it, even from startup, if you just immediately let go. So unfortunate for him, but he's going to get a reset here, try to get some damage back. But now a complete reversal here from the last game, right? Last game, it was Ninjames with a quick 2-stock lead, and now it's Sword less than a minute into it, already up 2. Scratch that, up 1, but you know, looking a lot stronger.
Definitely up 1, but now Ninjames really has this opportunity to make an amazing story here to show that he can do what Sword could not. Come back from a 2-stock deficit. If he can do this here, he might be able to, but he is getting held off stage. It's pretty much exactly what Ninjames has been doing these past 3 maps. Has just been holding Sword off stage, and now he's the victim of it himself. Sword has learned the technique and adapted it like the Borg, but now we're in 1 stock for both these players.
And that killed so early due to the rage on Bowser and the ability to read that tech. The forward smash does so much damage. Oh man, Sword goes for it all right there. I don't know if he should have done that just yet. Now he's brought this back even. He could easily lose this. The lead is gone now for all intents and purposes, and he is going to have to find his way back in. And he does. He's going deep for Ninjames here. He's trying to find this. Ninjames read the option, but thought he'd come to the platform a little bit faster, as both players trying not to get that stray hit on them that will kill.
Yeah, Ninjames just getting a little bit more damage, and so that he has more of those options available for kill. Now 153% for Ninjames. This is really stressful for both these players. One good hit for either of these players would seal the deal for Ninjames. It'll seal it, but that'll be it almost. Yes, it will be Sword taking their first map and potentially starting back a bit of, we might be seeing, I don't want to say it, but a reverse sweep?
Potentially, man. I mean, we ended one sweep, and you know that to end one sweep, you have to start another. So we'll see if these guys, if Sword has the ability to bring this one back. You know, looked very good there in the start of that match, but again, you started to see some of those weaknesses that Ninjames has been taking advantage of there towards the end of it. We're getting a little bit overcommittal, going for some reads that he maybe doesn't quite need to, and just being a little indecisive at times. And Ninjames just picking up on those moments, bringing it right back to him. And so you got to give him a lot of credit there, as you know, he has still held on, loses game 4. But before we get into game 5, K-Wing, I think we're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be right back with some more action shortly. Welcome back to one of the quickest 4 games in Smash I have ever seen. These guys are not playing camping playstyle right now. They're going at it, and it's been a fun one, K-Wing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it, that this has been a pretty quick 4 games, but I mean, it's been pretty interesting. I mean, the 2 characters that have been playing have very offensive play styles. You have the Chrom, you have the Bowser, both known almost completely really just infamous for their offensive playing style and their aggression, just kind of clashing, and it's the unstoppable force meets another unstoppable force. And so far, Sword has been coming out of it looking a little worse for wear. 3-0 in the first 3 maps, and only just barely scraping out a win on the 4th map to keep their hopes alive, thanks to, in part, an unfortunate misinput from the Bowser, trying to put in the up B, put in the neutral B, but also some pretty good play as well. You can't discount how well Sword's been playing.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, both players have been playing well, but Nin James really using his character strengths to the best of his abilities, right? He's waiting on the opportunities, and he knows when he gets him at kill percent exactly what to be looking for, and he's picking up on a lot of habits. So you got to give him a lot of credit. He has earned this 3-1 lead, and excited to get into that. Before that, let's recognize one of our sponsors here that helps make this happen. Asus ROG Tough is the official hardware sponsor of HSEL and Spring Major 2021. Globally recognized as the #1 gaming brand worldwide and used by elite school esports teams. And thanks to you guys for putting that on. And it's a great event and great hardware there. So stop in their shop and get you some Asus gear, man.
Yeah, Asus is a really great brand, really great hardware, and really powerful. And speaking of some power, we'll see these 2 players and see if we can see more power coming out of them. As now coming in, Sword looking to keep maybe the reverse sweep going, hoping that this that little break we had didn't reset the momentum too much, as I think this is pretty much the first time since the start that this momentum is going to be in Sword's favor. But Nin James has played some really good Smash, pretty good Smash Bros throughout. They're looking to bring back the dominance we've seen in those first 3 maps, now coming in onto Yoshi's with those with the 3 platforms, with a large center one, pretty similar to Battlefield in terms of platform makeup, but we'll have to see how it differs in terms of how these 2 people play.
Yeah, already we can see coming out of the break, it looks like both players playing a little bit more patiently, which is hard to say, at less than a minute left, both of them at near 100%, but doing a really good job of kind of backing off and trying to pick up on what the other person is doing. Tech chase reads again coming out from Sword. Those are going to be big if he wants to bring this back and complete the reverse sweep, but he's not going to get it. And that's exactly what Nin James has done so well, right? You miss your tech read, and he punishes you for it. He gets his conversion exactly the way he wants to, but Sword coming back, jab, back air, gets the stop back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works there.
Not again.
Oh no, Nin James, not again. Not like this. You can't. Once was unfortunate. Twice, I think you might need to get your joysticks checked out, my man. This is turning into a habit I don't like here. But we saw him come back from worse. We saw him come back from the 2-stock deficit. The 1 stock should be nothing. He did end up losing it, but he made it pretty competitive. So Sword cannot be slacking off anymore, especially since how close he is to that kill percentage right now. Oh, and there's the forward throw.
Yeah, almost going to do it right there. Going to be very, very close to the percent. He's going to go for the down tilt. Just reaching those arms out, throwing him out. And again, like you said, erased that SD immediately. Sword unable to capitalize on it. And he's not really finding the momentum he can get here. Now, up air's coming around. Forward air's coming out. But Nin James bringing it right back. Looks for the hard read and no punish from Sword right there. That was the moment to capitalize. And Nin James is punishing him for not punishing himself.
Yeah, now pretty even, a small percentage lead. There's the grab. Not going to get anything with the up air. how both these players just looking for that opening, looking for the opportunity. Ninja's going to find it first. Getting into this. Now there it is again. The up air out of shield has been working so well for Ninjames. This could be it. The forward throw not going to go off stage, but now Sword so dangerous, just going to.
Oh my lord! What?
Oh my gosh! The
reversal, the ether. He sucked him in.
No way.
He sucked him in with that ether. He's been going for that so much, right? He's putting it just off stage, and it pulled him in. I think the Yoshi's tilt towards the platform, helping him out there, dragging it into that hitbox. And as it brings it in towards it, he knocks him down, gets the spike, and grabs the ledge to save his life. And Sword pulling it back. I mean, he had the lead. He lost the lead immediately. And then he pulls that one out of nowhere, man, to bring it back.
That was stylish. I don't know. I don't care how much you know about Smash Bros. I don't care how much you played this. I don't care if you're a pro, if you've never played Smash Bros. Before. That was cool. Already coming into this next one. And I think if you're worried about momentum, Sword has got all of it after a play like that. Ninja's not sweating, maybe not sweating yet, but not sitting as comfortably as he was as before we headed into the break. Still on match point, of course, so Sword can't rest easy either. And now getting into this again. Both players playing pretty well. Ninja's going to take an early percent deficit. He's going to get that pepper damage in, but there goes the down air and the up tilt already just going to start to equalize. And there's the back throw as well.
Yeah, the back throw, and oh yeah, he goes for the forward smash. He's been doing that at the ledge. It really hasn't caught Sword yet. He's done a really good job of addressing it, but you know, still conditioning him there to respect that option so he can mix up when he needs to. The ledge drop, and Sword's been going for that all game, but he finally gets it here, sets it up so he can get the down air. And you know, again, all series he's been ledge trumping, but finally he's going to get one and allow him to take the first stock. But then James answers immediately back with that command grab.
Yeah, you had that side B immediately. There's the parry. Not going to be able to capitalize off of it. And in fact, Ninja's going to get comboed bit by Sword. Not much. Going to roll away from that neutral B. Now playing at the edge. Ninja's going to just be held at the edge like we saw him do to Sword a lot throughout those first 3 games. Coming into this between Ninja's and Sword, both pretty close in terms of that percentage, within 10-20% of each other. A few hits could even the lead or widen it even more now, as Ninja's almost at kill percentage. It's so hard to kill a Bowser, but there's that kill on 2 Swords. So low, such low percentage comparatively. But like we were talking about during the break, when you're playing against a Bowser, you kind of have to play perfect.
Yeah, you can't give him any range at all. And right there, using, you know, the sides on UFC Sword coming to get that quick kills. They're not quite as wide as some of the stages, and does a really good job there. Didn't James gets back to the stage here. Ether's gonna let Sword get back. Waits out the up smash, but can't quite get in there yet. And now the damage starting to rack up. He's got to find this kill quickly. Sword has had some issues playing with a deficit all series, but the F tilt going to give him stage control. Not quite the stock just yet. And a mix-up right there, coming all the way back to the stage with that up B, but still going to be caught out by the back air and Sword. 76%. Can Ninja's end it here? He's looking to get the control, gets the up B, has stage control. Tries to get the breath towards the edge, and the forward tilt. He's ended so many stocks with it already, but he's going to get the DI to live, and Sword's still in this somehow, but he's got to find a hit. He has not put any damage on Ninja's on this last stock.
And Ninja's has no damage, still a clean, fresh stock, and 123% for Sword. Now, one small hit from Ninja's will end this match and end the tournament for Ninja's. Sword just trying to stay alive, trying to keep his hope alive and go in to finally tie it up for the first time since we started. There's the up B, going to go up, grab it on the ledge. It's so close, and just moments you have to be sweating so much over these players, and this is where champions are made, in these clutch moments and in these small moments where Ninja's has to just find that one hit or Sword has to play perfectly. The hit's going to come in. It's they're not going to get enough, but now 153. Anything goes at this point. We've seen so many of these sort of moments where it's so close, and anything that could happen here. Just one hit will send it, and now 121. This percent lead Ninja had, but there it is, the forward air, and that's it. Ninja is going to take it 4-2 over Sword, upsetting the champion, as you've been talking so much about, and going to be winning the High School Esports League Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament.
Yeah, the spring major right here going to Ninja James, doing a really good job. I mean, phenomenal stuff right there. Able to really kind of take his lumps and deal with them well. Sword getting some pretty early damage on him in almost every stock, but always finding that last hit when he needed to be able to seal that one. And so phenomenal stuff for Ninja James, just playing it patient, knowing that he's got survivability on his side, knowing that if he can just wait until he gets enough stray hits on Sword to find one of those stray forward airs, to find that forward tilt at the ledge, to find something like that to end the game, and he just waited for those moments, and they came to him, and he was able to take it for a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when you really look back at it, you had so much early percent damage, and like you said, Ninja James really, it takes an iron will to go through that and to take so much damage and to have that percent deficit. You don't want to be in a percent deficit. I feel like that's an obvious statement of you don't want to be at a percent deficit, but it takes someone with a really good iron will to say, I'm at a percent deficit, but I just need to find my opportunities and play my game. And that's exactly what Ninja James did. He wasn't daunted by Sword's reputation or by any early percent deficits he went into, and he pulled out some really strong Bowser play. And don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to have, of course, the check ceremony and a bit of an interview with the man himself, Ninja James. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.
What's in Zaxby's new General Tso's sauce? Legendary chicken, legendary sauce. The new General Tso's boneless wings. Only at Zaxby's. Redeem rewards, scan to pay, and order ahead on the Zaxby's app.
Welcome back, guys. We just had a phenomenal finals. They're going to 6 games. Then James took it, and Sword, who would look so strong in so many other HSEL events, is going to finally fall here. And K-Wing, man, what an event.
I know. Honestly, HCL doing this event, having so much fun with it. I know I did, and I know that at least I hope that the players did, playing their hearts out and doing a lot. So of course, for some other events, we're gonna thank another partner. We're talking about NASIF. Of course, NASIF is excited. HSEL is excited to join forces with NASIF, the North American Scholastic Esports Federation. They provide free scholastic esports programs to help you learn how to turn your love for esports into an awesome career. Students can participate in free tournaments, scrims, and esports-based challenges. Free resources available for educators to lead scholastic esports programs in and out of the classroom. Game, grow, learn, and lead with NASIF, and create your free esports club today by visiting NASIF, NASEF.org.
Yeah, thanks to them again for helping us put this on in HSEL, running a great event here. But without further ado, we have the winner of our tournament here, Nin James, with us, man. How are you doing? It's been a long tournament, I'm sure, for you, and the best of sevens is certainly a unique format. But tell us how you feel about it, man. How did the event go to here? Was it a good time for you?
What's up, guys? Nin James here. Yeah, I just want to say, like, before I start, like, quick thank you to all the staff and like all the people who organized this. It's really like professionally run, and I love that you guys are able to stream and help like bring out these high schoolers who might not get a shot at being able to like compete like offline or even get their name out there on bigger online tournaments. Like, it's such a cool organization, and I love it, man. It's so much fun. I had such a fun time these past couple months, and it's really been something I've been looking forward to and a great thing to work towards this year, especially.
Yeah, that's really awesome of you to say, well mature. Just personally wondering, one thing we were talking about personally, Shope and I, we were talking a lot about how you were going through taking a lot of damage, and you were able to just kind of keep strong and just find those opportunities. How do you kind of separate that? Keep yourself from panicking when you're taking damage and even getting into like a percent deficit. How do you keep yourself from kind of freaking out?
Well, Bowser is definitely a heavy character, but something that's actually helped me a lot that I really think other players should do too is I always meditate before I play. And because I'm a very emotional player, so that actually helps me a lot. Is I'll just like get into like a dark room just alone and just play some chilling music and just keep my back up straight and focus on breathing and just close my eyes and just think about breathing. And it really soothes my mind. It really gets me into the mindset to be able to just not panic. And even when I was dropping a couple of games, there were a couple of times there where I might not necessarily thought I should have died, but um, I still just say, hey, it's okay. We still got a couple more games, and I always listen. Whenever I'm playing online, I always listen to music when I play. I don't tend to do that offline, but I feel like online I'm just able to like vibe a lot more, and it just keeps my composure and just keeps me from pushing forward.
Yeah, and I thought you did a really good job there, man. You could tell your composure. You could a couple of SDs, I think, with that miss input using that neutral be off stage, and
Yeah.
I was impressed. You came back from it, like you said, with a really good mental state, and real almost brought that first game back, and really both of them. So good stuff to you. And so what I want to ask is, you tended to always find the right moment, right, to strike, and you really were capitalizing on those missed tech reads from Sword. Is that something you went into this matchup looking for? Were you like, you know what, I can mix them up with some of these tech chases, and then I can take advantage of that? Because it looked like a lot of your kills kind of came off of him really going for those hard reads on the tech chases.
So, so I like Bowser's Hoarder because it descends at a good angle to be able to capitalize on those kinds of situations and set up for great kills for that. But especially online with like the added delay for online as opposed to offline, it's a lot harder to get those techs, especially from like the angle that you're sent at for moves like Bowser Forwarder. So I'm able to set that up really easily and just be able to like it's just easier to punish because it's just so hard to like as the person in that situation to
Yeah.
really get out of that. And yeah, that's definitely something I'm always looking for against really anybody, but this matchup for sure because he just like Crom's just throwing out like a bunch of moves and like I'm able to just like punish things and get them into that situation for sure.
Awesome. So what are your sort of long-term aspirations? I mean, looking forward, now that you've won the tournament, what are you looking forward to kind of doing next? Where can we sort of see more of you competing, some more Bowser play?
So I actually didn't start competing until Ultimate came out back in January of 2018. That was my first tournament, and I actually didn't even play Bowser at the time. I went to my first offline tournament as a Ganondorf and Samus player. We won't talk about the results, but let's just say I came home that day and said, "Hey, I think this is something I could really get into. Like I've been playing Smash like casually for a while since I've been growing up, and I just like I remember I was with some friends that night after the tournament, and someone was like, "You should try out Bowser," and I was like, "Never thought about that," and really glad I did because I've been able to really just put like a lot of work into this game, and it's something that I really love doing, and I'm able to compete in. I live on Long Island, and there's this really cool venue called the Meta. Uh, we've been able to start like slowly opening back up to being able to do like small local tournaments, so like not a ton of people, like mass the whole time. And so we've been able to compete again and really get like our names back out there. And it's been so much fun because this is something that I want to keep doing in the future. I would love to be able to travel outside of my region because I haven't been able to do that yet. So I'm hoping when COVID's over that when we start up big events again, that I'm able to maybe travel to one someday because that would be so much fun. I haven't been able to travel outside yet, but I would love to do that.
I
Yeah, man.
can't wait.
Traveling for Smash it's a lot of fun getting to meet a bunch of people, and I look forward to you being able to do that with the skills you put on display today. I think that it's going to be a treat for everybody when you get out there and start taking some names, in not just HSEL events, which again, of course, we had some very strong players here today, but on like the national stage against some of the more established older players, man. So I think you definitely have the potential to do that, and I look forward to you, taking that next step and moving on, and hope you can continue this today. So, Nin James, thanks again, man, for coming by here today. Congratulations on the win, and I hope you have a good one, man. Use that scholarship money wisely.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys so much. It's really been such a great experience. I love it.
All right, thank you, man. Take care. And that was did James, man. I mean, a very it seemed like a great kid. Good head on his shoulders, meditating, making sure that he gets his mind in the right spot there for events, and you can tell that he takes it seriously. And I think he's got a bright future ahead of him here in Smash Brothers.
Oh, 100%. I think, like you said, good head on his shoulders, meditation. Not something you'd expect from a high schooler, but really mature, really good play, and I think you saw it reflected there as he comes away with the $1,000 scholarship prize for the Smash Bros. Spring Major finalist for being the champion. And I'm personally looking forward to seeing more from Ninjames. I'm looking forward to seeing more from him just going forward.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing some more of that. And coming up here soon for you guys, we're going to have some chess action here, but that's going to do it for us tonight. That's all the Smash Bros. Action that we have for this event for HSEL. It's been a fun time, and it's been great getting to see the finals here. K-Wing, it's a pleasure as always, man, and I've had fun doing this, but we have got to go. So be sure to stick around, watch some chess action. I know I'm really excited to see how that unfolds here, and so don't go anywhere, guys, but we will see you later.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to the HSEL Spring Major Chess Grand Finals. My name is Vincent. I'm joined by the one, the only Myth. How are you doing this fine evening?
I am fantastic. Honestly, I've been looking forward to this all week. This should be an absolute cracker of a game, and I love some chess.
Oh yeah, you and I have been messaging back and forth all week long. We've been so excited for this, but yeah, no, it's going to be a great time. Absolutely love that. But let's take a look before we get straight into the action at the standings, because we have had some absolutely incredible matchups coming through. But the craziest part here, Myth, is that the number 1 seed here, it's not in the finals. It's going to be the number 2, number 4 seed as well to come in. As let's just take a look at how they made it there. As we take a look at it, big upsets there, I would say, in the top side of the bracket. The number 8 seed taking out the number 1 seed, and then everything else kind of walking into place as you would expect. But Myth, honestly, we saw the win-loss there for all of these teams in the top 8. I feel like it's pretty much guaranteed that it was going to be close no matter how it worked out.
Yeah, exactly. Matt Rabbit and Ignomin kind of dominated all the way through to the finals, and this kind of highlights that this map is going to be, also not this map, this game is going to be really, really close, and I hope it is. I hope we get like 20 draws.
why would you
Maybe not,
ask
maybe
to curse
not.
us already? We've not even gotten into the cast, Myth. No, but best of 5, by the way, if you aren't familiar with how we're going to be playing this out, it's going to be 10-minute chess, best of 5, and what that means is that the first person to 3 points will be the victor, but draws are not counting. So, like Myth was just mentioning, we could have as many draws as are necessary to bring us over the line. And I know that's somewhat exciting because, draws are always hilarious, but also probably very frustrating for the players. No matter how you slice it, though, it's going to be a good time. I'm very excited for it. And on top of that, like, I'm gonna get to watch some awesome high school chess. Which, I mean, listen, I graduated high school just like 4 years ago, so I haven't gotten to go back in time, shift my mind back since then. So I personally am gonna enjoy feeling like a young buck once more.
Yeah, me too, me too. I finished like 6 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I stopped playing chess in what
Oh
in what
man.
the UK high school would be, and I regret it so much, so much. I picked it up again once I left, and it's just the most fun. I hope we see a stalemate today because they're always funny.
Yeah, they are. The worst part about the stalemate, of course, is like both you and the player knows like that you're just trying so hard not to screw it up, not to hit that stalemate, and then you just accidentally blunder it. I mean, listen, these guys are going to be way better than I am. I'm just blundering things left, right, and center if I'm playing. And in fairness, so if I mention, oh, this was a blunder, yeah, that's probably because I absolutely would have blundered that piece. Oh
It's probably
man.
like a tactical blunder, like a
I mean, that's what I'm
a
telling
gambit,
myself.
right?
Yeah, no, I'm telling myself that, but in reality, I've just blundered the whole game, and I'm sad, and I've lost rating. No, we're not talking about my life here. We're talking about
Don't
Matt
talk about my
Rabbit and
rating.
no, yeah, we were discussing it earlier, and you were saying that it's not at its best at the moment, is it? What I do?
Uh, It's okay. It's okay. My bullet chest is not good.
No, no, no. But either way, we are just waiting, by the way, for our players to ready up. They've been patient for us on the production side, so we are going to be patient with them. They are absolutely amazing, by the way. Props to both of these guys for getting to this point as well. And I believe playing for $1,000 in scholarships, if I'm not mistaken. That's what the prize pool is. But yeah, really awesome, right? Like I feel like it's not even fair because this wasn't a thing when I was in high school, but I absolutely would have been playing in this. Like what, where was this? But yeah, I mean, the HSEL, of course, with Generation Esports, it's awesome that they get to put this on and just give opportunities to these high school students to really step up and have you know some a lot of fun playing both video games and chess now, which is awesome. Because we're calling chess a video game, which I'm perfectly okay with. I know there's
Exactly.
some in the community that are like, "Oh no, please don't." No, 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 no. I'm fully on board. It is absolutely a video game. It's just,
I love it.
old school video game. It's like
The
Pong.
oldest school. And like, thank God for PogChamps to like bringing it just back into the mainstream. It's
Yeah.
done so much for the community, and just it's done bits. And like, if HSC was around or like the equivalent for the UK, I I would definitely still be playing chess when I was back then. And this is such a good opportunity for one of these young people to go into college with that like extra bit of security, knowing that they're gonna have that money. And yeah, like, come on, it's a big prize pool.
Yeah, it's just that little extra boost, you know. And I mean, listen, as a college student myself, I'm aware that college is not necessarily the cheapest of things, but we're gonna keep it positive here. That said, we are just about ready, I think, to get underway. We just got a couple of more seconds before, and well, speak and. It's just a couple of moves given away. That's the biggest problem, right, Meth?
Exactly, exactly. And the issue with the castle, sets you up. It's in such a good position for the rest of the game. But he does take the bishop. Um, Maybe not the best idea, but we'll see. We'll see going into the later game how that's going to affect it. Um, Really, I want to see how Black can follow up on this with another check.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if aggression is the name of the game, continued aggression is certainly a viable option. Um, but I mean, this time though, you are at the very least going to have to make some sort of move. But the worst part about this is you move your king back there. That's what I was afraid of, the G1 move, because now you've just trapped your rook in this area, and it's going to take so many additional moves to dislodge that rook, and that is, I think, the scarier option, right?
Exactly, exactly. And not having that piece for late in the game, having to take that extra move to develop it's going to be very, very crucial. And that's a big advantage for Matt Rabbit.
So I'm well, okay. I was gonna say, I'm thinking, what can the next move be? But well, continued aggression, putting the queen down into this lane, the G5 move. I think understandable, right? You're just moving the queen into an area where it can be playable, right?
Exactly, yeah. And this is a good point of the game to push the queen forward. You've taken that aggression early on, and it's strange to see because normally the white pieces are on attack straight away. Just having that first move, you can set up an attack, and you see all the opening moves for black there. This defense, that defense, and but it's flipped here. So the black is on the aggressive, and they're really pushing white.
All right.
What just happened?
Just a standard trade there of the queens,
Oh,
moving over
okay.
to the C1 area and then trading with the rook. I think that's a perfectly viable option. to pull as our producer just pulling that back, and then we're gonna have the knight going b4 to put a little bit of additional pressure. But again, we're just kind of seeing black make a lot of pressure across the map and not really getting punished for it at all for the moment. Matt Rabbit is not.
So yeah, like when you're up on pieces, you want to be trading out, and this is exactly what
Oh no, we've lost the myth.
onto the queen. Sorry, onto the king.
We lost you for just a moment, Myth. Would you repeat your point? Oh no, I think. Okay,
Am
he's
I
coming
back?
in and out. You're back. You're back.
Oh, okay. So
Oh man, the timing. Man, I'm gonna have to cut you off for just a moment. You're lagging in and out. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a wait if you don't mind. But I am seeing interesting where the rook d1, and I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that move is, other than just to develop the rook a little bit further. But the knight immediately threatening that rook, and you have to move it into an even worse position, I feel. So the all-out aggression here from Matt Rabbit is really kind of troublesome for Ignomin.
right, exactly, for sure. And he's putting a lot of pressure onto this middle area of the board, and the bishop, no, sorry, the knight and the rook is looking under a big bit of danger, because you see how that's positioned next to the king.
Mhm.
The fork is going to be there eventually.
Yeah. Well, eventually, that's the key bit of information, because yes, now with the pawn pawn a3, it is gonna push this knight back. But honestly, you could have even gotten aggressive there if you really wanted to, even further. But I think at this point, with the advantage that Matt Rabbit has, does not want to give it away, and that's seemingly very understandable. But that's another very aggressive position, and I think is that just for free? I think it's relatively free, but the trades are still good enough to keep the advantage.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be trading out, but you see that Mad Rabbit hasn't castled yet. He's been pushing his advantage so much that he hasn't used that turn to castle, because he hasn't needed to. He's set up in a good position, and he's able to trade out with a one piece advantage.
Yeah, that one piece advantage. So I mean, there's still some deadly pieces on the board here for Ignomin. So I don't think it's all over just yet. Obviously, the lack of a castle is maybe somewhat problematic, but moving the rook here into this open file is certainly not a bad idea. And that could ultimately be a bit of a problem, considering the lack of the castle over there for Matt Rabbit, and still no castle. Elects to pull the rook out on the king side.
Yeah, very good idea. Protecting that pawn. And the thing is that the Matt Rabbit could have had the choice to castle either side, whichever way he wanted to set up. And playing queenside castling would have been very defensive, but that's not really how Matt Rabbit's been playing this game.
Speaking of not playing this game, I mean that is
Ooh.
quite the aggressive move. Getting the queen forward, not electing to go for that queenside castle, which I mean you're right, much more defensive. I mean if I was the one in the driver's seat, might have been tempted to do that. But now with both the rooks here for white on the open file, it does open some opportunities. That said, with the opposing rooks there on the back line, it's somewhat difficult to make something happen.
Yeah, and he pushed forward that pawn just to give it the added protection, so it wasn't taken by that rook. And Ignomin pushes that pawn forward onto g4, and that pawn on h5 is under a lot of pressure, and he needs to move that forward. Otherwise, it's going to be taken. I
Yeah,
don't really see any other move apart from take. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that's fair enough. And what that does though is it opens the right side of the board up, and I mean we see it right now. The open file there on H, and so you're easily making space for potential quick mate moves and the such on that area.
Yeah, and what Ignomin's done here is he's pushed forward that pawn to g5, and that take is going to open up that rook file there, which is going to be very, very dangerous, because he's got two piled up on f4, f1, and f2. And that's going to be very, very dangerous for Matt Rabbit's backline. But that push on the rook to h5 is very smart, because it takes away that Yeah. Okay. Look at that. Look what happened to Ignomin's like score on the left hand side.
Yeah, yeah, the
That was just
odds.
not a good move. He should have pushed the pawn forward.
Yeah, and it's an easy mistake to make as well because in the your thought process, right? Like you're thinking, okay, well, I have a lot of on that pawn, right, sitting at f6. You're
Mhm.
thinking I have a lot of pressure on this. I got the knight over here putting pressure. I've got both of my rooks putting pressure, and if there's a take here on that pawn, then I can take with my knight and immediately put pressure onto the king. That said, it's opened you up to this sort of attack, and that's the scary part.
Exactly. But what I want to see from Mad Rabbit is how he's going to utilize that other rook. He can move it across and put up that king into check, and then that's going to be another trade that he can make. That rook is going to have to come across, and he can take it with his knight. So that would be +2.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I mean, I feel like there's mate in a couple moves here.
Oh yeah, I think without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's very much on the knife edge here for.
Yeah,
For Matt.
exactly. Made
Yeah,
in one.
yeah, exactly. And that would be it. But interesting. Okay. I mean, I don't think that's horrible. I think
No, not at all. No.
you're just you're just again clearing out the area here, taking pieces out of contention, and that's perfectly valid, especially because obviously if you get to that back file, then it's a bit of a problem. You got a queen on your hands.
Yeah, so if you're Matt Rabbit here, you just need to be playing the simple moves, and just trading out pieces until you have that advantage, and then you can push forward and play the game you need to.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to get this rook over here on a8 involved, though, if you're Matt Rabbit. Obviously playing very careful right now, but um, this rook on a8 is crucial. Needing to pull that into the attack in some way, and I mean, you got that open H file as well. Obviously, is a very solid move as well.
Yeah, and like this all comes down to how we saw at the beginning of the game where Matt Rabbit used that bishop to make sure that king couldn't castle, and it forced him into this corner without being able to castle, and it's taken Ignomin so many moves to bring his rooks out, and now he's trapped with 2 rooks and a knight breathing down his neck.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, ultimately, these stacked rooks. I talked about it as a kind of sort of positive thing at the time, but right now, this is a very negative thing for Ignomin because these stacked rooks are they're not putting any pressure anywhere. They're not actually active on the board. Very much being staved off by just this one knight, like you were mentioning. So, we are seeing this knight here from Ignomin. I mean, this knight is the key for Ignomin to get out of this mess that he's gotten involved in. If possible, that is certainly going to be your avenue out, and putting some pressure on the rook and g7 is certainly a viable strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And pinning here onto the king is
Very good.
definitely going to be a good choice for Matt Rabbit, because he needs to get that A rook into the game, and all this pressure is coming down on the H file. The king, there we go. Yeah, and the king is doing a great job at stopping Ignomin, pushing up the pawns, and that's where the space is for Ignomin. If he needs to get back into this game, it's probably quite unlikely, but he needs to be able to do something on that left hand side of the board.
Yeah. I mean, this is 100%. I assume going to be made here very shortly for Matt Rabbit. Um, I don't. I mean, even then, yeah. There we go. Okay,
Yeah, there we go.
that's what I was expecting. Going to be happening. So first one going there to Matt Rabbit, and that's 1 point on the board for him. So, a bit of an interesting game there, Myth. Like, where do you think that game won and lost realistically?
I mean, it was difficult to say, but like you saw that initial aggression from Matt Rabbit, and it looked like he was being a lot more like aggressive and being the more active player, while Ignomin was on the back foot the whole of the game, the complete whole of it. And it all came down to that bishop move onto was it E2? No,
Yes,
it
I
was
believe.
D2. It was D2.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good
I
call.
think. And it was just such an aggressive play, and it worked out for him because Ignomin didn't have an answer. But we see Ignomin now on black.
Yep. And I mean, we're gonna have to see though if Ignomin can turn I mean, the fact that Matt Rabbit was able to take such an aggressive strategy with Black, you know, obviously from a disadvantaged place, and I mean, we're already seeing this opening somewhat standard, right? Just fighting for this middle position with the knight, with the pawn, and taking an early 1-1 on those pawns, and this is all very standard opening stuff. And an interesting take there, just trading out pieces. I feel like it's maybe a little early on that, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think maybe it was a good idea. It's very, very aggressive, but I think that's kind of what Matt Rabbit's shown the sort of play he is. Like, he wants to play these risky moves and trade out early, and it worked for him last game. So,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I mean, what I really, really love for Matt Rabbit right here, we saw him being very tentative on the castle before. No time wasted. Getting this castle done and easily putting himself in a very defensible position in the early stages as it's evened up. I think that's very solid from Matt Rabbit.
Yeah, I agree for sure. He's definitely showing like he's setting up this this board really, really well. But that early aggression it's going to allow Black to take the tempo and set up how they want to. And
I mean, but look at the development here from both the bishops for Matt Rabbit compared to Ignomin. The bishops are so much more developed right now, and very active in play at the moment, and that's just not really the case for Ignomin. Something that I think he probably needs to adjust for here relatively shortly. I mean, he's playing this very passive, very defensive setup, and just kind of taking what Matt Rabbit gives him. But right now, Matt Rabbit being very solid at just kind of developing these pieces in very fast and methodical ways.
Exactly. And they're both on open files, which is very, very dangerous. But Ignomin is set up in Sicilian defense, and it's very, very strong. And Bishop, no, pawn move forward to c5, and I think that's definitely a good move. It's very, very aggressive again. So with this, he deciding they're both fighting over that middle of the board, wanting to take control. But with Matt Rabbit, with those two bishops.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a direct response to the fact that Matt Rabbit's two bishops are holding so much space, and a clear just want and need from Ignomin. Just let's do the old queen trade. That it was Matt Rabbit who opened that before, and Ignomin this time the one to aggress.
Exactly, and he accepts it. So they're both wanting to play this sort of quick style of game where they're trying to trade out pieces and they're trying to get through to that middle end game as quickly as they can and move forward through their attacks and through their defenses as best they can. And it's kind of cagey at the minute, but I think it's difficult how it's going to be playing out. Like, you can never know once it's at the beginning of the game, and it's very difficult to tell who's on top.
So this move right here, e6, right, pawn to e6. That's an interesting move to me. I assume just to really make the defense of this f7 pawn a bit more stalwart. As I mean, another very aggressive push here. Basically, just I mean, you're just splitting the rook and the knight, so you're gonna trade one of the two, I would imagine.
But the engine didn't like that move. Maybe too aggressive there from Matt Rabbit.
I mean, I don't think that's awful, to be honest, but it's obviously so aggressive, like you're talking about, and well, I think that move is a solid one from the Ignomin side, only in that it just adds additional threat, you know, rather than just passively moving back into an area where you could trade. It's not too shabby.
No, not at all. Not at all. And he's offering up the rook trade here. Wonder if he'll accept. He does have that. He can take the bishop here with the rook, but obviously might not be the best idea because it will be a trade.
Yeah, this is a bit dicey. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure who is winning on this right now.
I mean, you look at the engine and it says completely equal.
Yeah,
It's
it's
quite rare
true.
that it says
In,
that.
in fairness, yeah, like we're stumped, but we've got the computer stumped as well. So I'll take that as a compliment from the old computer, uh, and move along with my life. But uh, well, and again, this move, Myth, what are you seeing on this one? Because I kind of understand what we're going for here from Ignomin, but also a bit confused.
I guess he's trying to attack the king side and bring that bishop into the game because on that back row it's not doing anything at all. And he's trying to get his to develop his final pieces, but moving that forward, I'm not so sure. But obviously he can't move to a6; it will be taken and it'll be a complete throw. But it's his best move on the board, I think.
Okay. All right. Honestly, for Matt Rabbit here, there's lots of question marks. You could start this trade, if you really wanted to, or in this case, just push this pawn forward. To me, that pawn push, it tells me Matt Rabbit unsure of what to do at the moment.
I think that's the case with both players. I think this game is very, very even, and they're not 100% sure what the best moves are. But I just think that there isn't anything too impactful because both players have set up their opening so well.
Yeah. Well, and not blundered anything either
Exactly.
is the nice thing. Even though we've seen some aggression, and there we are, maybe a move that the computer doesn't really love, but it's kind of forced the hand of this. And interesting, Matt Rabbit, the king of trades, not really interested in that trade right there. Probably a bit surprising to me.
Right, right. And I think that's a good move. Those bishops are in such a dangerous position playing those two diagonals that he wants to keep hold of them. And there we go. Yeah, I think this is kind of what we need to open this game up and playing some of these bold moves and trading out some of the pieces to open up the board.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. As we are getting that rook trade, I really feel like the key for Matt Rabbit is going to be the c3 knight and getting that involved in some way. And same thing for the knight on f6 for Ignomin. Because right now those knights not really holding a super crucial position. They were before. But if they can find a way to get one of those knights aggressive, I think that could be an opening for them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm just wondering it. No, never mind. I'm stupid. I was gonna say for
Not
Matt
stupid.
Rabbit to play the knight to e4, but I mean it would be a very bad move.
Uh, yeah, that wouldn't be ideal, but again, we are seeing some movement on these bishops, and just additional pressure is what we're seeing right now. This time towards the opposing end of the board, but uh, not a bad position to be in. I mean, we can see the computer slightly favoring. Um, Matt Rabbit's positioning, and I think that has very much to do, like you were talking about how key these bishop positions are and how poor the bishop position is for G7. Ignomin's that bishop very inactive right now, isn't doing a lot at all, and I think the same can be said for that knight. So really just playing a very defensive setup right now is Ignomin, not wanting to give anything away and trying to be very careful not to blunder any pieces.
Right, yeah, and it's going to be very hard for them to break it down. But Ignomin's at some point it's going to have to make a move and push some of his pieces forward. It's very, very difficult because he doesn't really have anywhere to go. Like you can see from this pawn push onto e4, it's not ideal, but he has to do something.
Yeah. Would it have been better, you think, to push one of these pawns, G6, H7, those sorts of moves, or no?
I think with the G pawn it's the one defending the king. So I don't think it would have been the best move. What it does is it allows him to take exactly. It allows him to do this, debate in that trade, and then allow those exchanges to happen.
Yep. Still even Steven across the board though. No advantage gained. And I mean, as we can see, the bishop bait here. Not, I mean, it's not really a bait in fairness. It's very clear. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, whilst we've opened up this diagonal on the orange for the bishop, it it allows additional pressure, But right now, that bishop not really able to do to make any threats just yet. It's going to take another move or so to develop it a little bit further, and then it can become a very threatening piece on the board.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's a good move for Gnomon. It does mean that it's a trade, and it will block the rook from that open file because of that pawn. And he just takes with the rook. Never mind. Okay.
Listen, Matt Rabbit, a little too smart for you. Okay,
I
that was the
mean,
thing.
maybe I would have been in the HSEL final if I was that smart.
No,
And like
I'm with
10
you.
years
I'm with
younger.
you. I'm with you. I would have been thinking, oh yeah, it's just with the pawn, but no, a very intelligent decision not to take with that pawn, to go with the rook. And so now we can see the rook moving here onto B8 into a much more aggressive position, right? But the thing is that I mean, it's easily remedied, right? By the bishop. Like you can either move into A7, you can fall back a little bit and pressure elsewhere, but no matter what you do, you're still quite safe.
Exactly. And I think that's a great move. Move to C, yeah, there we go. Move to C8 and just
Having some lag issues
looking
once again
slightly
there, Myth.
stronger. Oh no. Okay, is that better?
I think you're good. I think you're okay now. No, he's just lagged again. It's okay. He'll he'll be back in just a moment. But yeah, no, I mean we're just kind of seeing this dance happening in real time with regard to the bishop and the rook. It's a difficult scenario because Ignomin is running lower on time, right? And it kind of feels as if um realistically he's just got to wait until he gets back into this. And okay, finally just making a decision and sticking with it. Aggression, there we go. As you got to defend, but now where do you go from here? That's the real question. Myth, as you've returned to us, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking. Well, I was thinking Matt Rabbit was looking in a stronger position because his bishop and rook were in much more active positions to attack Ignomin's king. But those last few moves, it's completely opened the board up. Okay. Yeah, as we go. Matt Rabbit looking like he's going to be in a bit of a struggle here. All Ignomin needs to do is use that bishop to put pressure onto Matt Rabbit's king, and he's looking good. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a pawn push that you don't love to see.
So now he's that bishop's pretty much forked. Yeah, against this king, and yeah, once that bishop moves into H6,
it's all going downhill, nowhere fast. I will say that. But will he know? Will he know? That's the key, right? I think that it's very obvious even for some. What was the move?
why did?
What was the move? Oh, okay. I'm okay.
Okay,
Well, that's
that's a throw.
it's a mass. Yeah. I think that's a classic blunder right there. Unfortunate as it is, and that's just giving up that rook for free. I mean, not free. Yes, you're trading out that bishop, but I think that gives away. I don't want to say there's no way to win off the back of that for Rabbit, but
I would say so. I mean, at
I
this
mean,
sort of level of the game,
well,
you
okay.
can't be
Just to
blundering
be
like that
clear,
and expecting to win.
just to be
Maybe
clear,
you can grab a draw.
yeah, that's true. But also, if you somehow figure a way to get to the back file and pick up a queen, like I guess something would be possible, but I don't think that Ignomin's going to be giving you that chance, not with a rook still in play, especially.
Yeah, with how the board is laid out, I don't really see that happening with the predominant of the pawns for Ignomin being on the king side. Just what a blunder! He's gonna be kicking himself.
I mean, he clearly is. Look, he's taken nearly a minute to think about this next move. I mean, I guess damage control. You
Yeah.
can still put the bishop in position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a move. He's going to be struggling from here, but he has to do something to try and grab a draw out of like the clutches of defeat.
It keeps swapping. I don't know. I assume that it was Ignomin's turn, but it keeps swapping whose clocks keeps moving. It's very odd. But we're just getting a refresh in, and okay. Well, we've missed a little bit, but
Oh, okay.
let's go backwards just a moment, if we don't mind, just to take a look at what happened. I would very much assume we're going to see. Oh, interesting. We just wait to get things back to where they were. Huh. So apparently this rook move never happened.
What?
I'm not sure what happened, but this is real. This is live, I believe. So
Okay, chat.
yeah. So we're trying to catch up to live where we were at.
We're
Had a bit
confused
of
as you
a
are.
yeah, had a bit of a problem, I think, on the chess.com side, if I'm not mistaken. So
Well,
just a bit
MatRab
of
is probably very relieved.
yeah, honestly. I mean, now this is just straight up draw, I believe,
Ooh.
but oh, indeed, yeah. Big blunder. And now, I mean,
this has got a draw in all over it. I don't really
yeah.
see any other way.
This is definitely got draw. I mean, I
Oh,
guess if
sorry, not a draw. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that pawn on the A file.
oh
He's gonna convert that to a queen,
oh
and
yeah,
he is without a doubt
you're
gonna
gonna
win
win.
this game. I can't see any other way.
Yeah, how Matt Rabbit has pulled this out is something. It certainly is something. I feel like
No, ignomin.
oh yes, my apologies. Listen. I'm still I'm flipped around left, right, upside down. Excuse me, but yes, Ignomin, you're right. From the fork position that Matt Rabbit had, only to blunder away the bishop in this timeline was the rook in the prior timeline. But I mean a blunder nonetheless, as we are we're stuck in a time loop once again, and
Yeah, there we go.
okay,
Ignomin won with that queen, as
yeah.
expected. Was it a resignation? I would have.
I'm not sure, but I think once you get to this point, like
Yeah.
you just understandable that Matt Rabbit would just resign at this point. Like this is a loss.
Yeah, it's kind of this sort of like SI is kind of respect. If you're in a position like that, you don't want to be playing the game at the finish,
Yeah,
just like moving your king around and
it's a
it's a
bit,
waste of everyone's time.
yeah. I mean, I think that it can be seen as a little disrespectful if you do.
That's what I
Obviously,
do in my games.
yeah, no, I'm fully disrespectful. I'm trying for the timeout the entire time. No, but
Exactly.
I'm
It's
like,
the only way I win.
yeah, like dude, like, are you good enough to actually mate me with just the king and queen? You know, uh, and 9 times out of 10, yes, they are. But anyway,
That
I
one time out of 10, that stalemate feels good.
oh yes, it does. You're like, I have stolen my rank points back from the depths of defeat. No, but yeah, 1-1 is the scoreline as we are at the moment. Ignomin picking up that victory after some shenanigans with chess.com. Hopefully we don't run into those yet again, but our awesome producer doing his best to keep that from happening. And beyond that, it happens. Just
Yeah.
it's the online world. Some technical hiccups, but regardless, Noman doing a good
Maybe one
job
day we'll have a live chess game.
over the board with
Yeah, over
TV.
the board.
All right. I listen. Whenever you come stateside, we'll just pick it up. We'll go down to the city block. We'll have the over the board chess there. But game 3 coming in live as we go. We're a couple of moves in, but we're gonna run those through. As Myth, what are you seeing?
We're seeing King Dingle's variation open for white, and I think it's looking pretty good. I think like it's a great way to control the middle of the board, and it's a strong opening basically. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and once again, we're seeing Matt Rabbit doing a really good job of just pulling pieces out, getting them involved very early on. Some aggressive trading happening, giving
Oh my
Newman
god.
a slight advantage on the extra pawn, obviously, but that might have been a small whiff, but all's well that ends well, I guess. Though Matt Rabbit
Yeah,
still down at the minute.
it does make a big difference in the long run. But you can never tell. You can never tell. It's still early doors. These openings are quick. My small brain can't keep up with this.
I kind of feel you, honestly. But we've got two castles happening as well.
Yeah,
And
both kingside, which is interesting.
yeah, well, I think that what that does actually is it really maybe simplifies the wrong word, but it just kind of simplifies the back end of the game with regard to the important areas to be in.
Yeah, it's a very classic way of the game being played, and very traditional. And you see both the attacking pieces all on one side, um, while the defense being on the other side. And it's interesting to see because it's kind of a matchup of skill. But Mad Rabbit is clearly ahead and playing a very, very aggressive game again.
Yeah, I mean Matt Rabbit just has been wanting to play this aggression, and I mean we saw it early there, take a bit of over aggression, right, and it giving Ignoman a one piece advantage. Yes, it's just a
Hmm.
pawn, but that is significant, like you talked about. And so now, with the positioning advantage that Matt Rabbit has gained, I mean, ironically, off the back of opening up this left side of the board, it that's just again a situation where look at how much more developed his pieces are. The knights quite active here. That both of the bishops very active for Matt Rabbit, and honestly, neither bishop very active here for Ignoman. Same thing could be said with one of the knights. So it's a difficult place to be in, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what gambit was that was, but it definitely put Matt Rabbit in a good position. Um,
Oh, nice split here.
yeah, he's getting dominated. Just like
This
the
is
queen is lost.
Yeah, no, this is done. I don't think you can recover this at all.
English
I
opening reverse Sicilian. All right,
There we go. Learning from the ancients.
exactly.
I love it.
Chess.com, thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Our producer showing it to us on screen live, doing a wonderful job. And yeah, I mean, we can see Novid is just sitting here burning time, thinking, "Oh God, what have I done?" And
Ooh,
actually, just a full resignation. Myth, what do you think about that? Is that a bit early on that call, or I mean,
no,
lost
no,
queen, that over?
not really. It's over. And I think Ignorant really could see that. He played it into Matt Rabbit's hand by accepting that gambit, and he he blundered really. Um,
Well, in the irony, he got the early lead, and that was the blunder.
yeah, it's the way of chess. So like I said, like a pawn early, it does make a big difference in the long game, but when it's done tactically and in the right way, it can make all the difference.
Yeah, and I mean, all the difference is very much the case, and I think that realistically, maybe we are thinking that Ignoman wants to take us just a moment to gather the thoughts there. A bit of a domination in game number 3 that does move our score line 2-1 in the favor of Matt Rabbit. So with that said, we are going to allow for a short little break in order to take a moment, think about things, and maybe for me to study up on what was it, the English Open Sicilian.
Reverse Sicilian, I
Yeah,
think.
reverse Sicilian. There we go. I'll remember that eventually, but I'm gonna go take a study. I think you are too. We're gonna be back here in just a couple of minutes with a lot more chess action. So don't go anywhere.
What's in Zaxby's new General Tso's sauce? Legendary chicken, legendary sauce. The new General Tso's boneless wings. Only at Zaxby's. Redeem rewards, scan to pay, and order ahead on the Zaxby's app.
Alrighty, we have returned. A short little break there for you folks, but it's going to be far more chess action. Remember, this is a best of 5. First person to hit 3 points is our victor, and that means that Matt Rabbit is very close. He's at 2-1 at the moment. Myth.
Yeah, and honestly, he could have won it already. That second game was so close. I mean, except for that like glitch with the computer system with chess.com. Thanks for that, chess.com. But that came down to the wire. Just a blunder right at the end for Matt Rabbit, and he would be 3-0 up, and we would have been finished here today. But it's all to play for still.
Indeed, it is. But, well, before we get into that and playing for this best of 5, I do want to say a huge shout out to one of our sponsors, the U.S. Army National Guard. In the Army National Guard, you can start a career in exciting fields like science, communications, engineering, medicine, all while earning money and furthering your education. It's pretty cool because you can get paid to learn those skills in high demand and rewarding professions, all while serving part time for your local community, state, and nation. You can learn how to become part of the National Guard and become a citizen soldier at nationalguard.com. So make sure to check that out. And of course, huge shout out and thank you for supporting the HSEL. But Myth, I have to say, Matt Rabbit looking very much dominant at the minute. Ignomin's had some great ideas, and I don't want to take anything away from him, but boy, I don't see a world in which Matt Rabbit gives this away.
No, honestly, the way he's playing, he's looked very, very strong throughout the whole thing. Very aggressive and just looking very active and confident in the way he plays. And it's good to see in a chess player, I think. Sometimes you can see a player who is just always defensive and always plays back and waits for early captures and plays late game. Doesn't wait for early captures and plays late game. And that's not what Matt Rabbit does. And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think you just described me as a chess player as the opposite of Matt Rabbit. So thank you for that at the very least. But no, yeah, I agree with you. It is very entertaining to watch because we're always going to be a little bit surprised at what's going on as we are straight into it. Game number 4 underway. No draws just yet, as we were talking about. As again, this opening here from Ignomin, though, a little different, is it not?
The Rosalimo. Okay. Rosalimo Fianchetto variation.
I'm not even gonna try. Not even trying.
It's gone way over my head. So far over my head is probably hitting a plane. Like, honestly, insane.
I mean, Matt Rabbit, this is classic Sicilian, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, Sicilian defense. It's a Sicilian defense.
See, you needed all those fancy words. I was just ready. It's fine.
Exactly. I mean, there are so many variations to so many different
yes.
lines that you can't know them all. I mean,
you
not
can.
when you just play as a hobby.
I hear the grandmasters of the chat mauling at us. But if you're just the hobbyist, no, you cannot. A 1-for-1 trade rook for bishop, already out. And this kind of goes to what we were talking about Matt Rabbit being unafraid to take those opening duels and just trade pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And GM Hikaru, I am sorry, but yeah, Ignomin is coming straight back with this aggressive play to push into the middle of the board, and that's exactly what you need to do early doors. You need to control the middle of the board and be kind of active in the way you play.
Well, that's the whole point of the Sicilian Open is to control the middle of the board. But with that bishop gone, pushing this rook at c3 makes so much sense. And now developing that bishop from c1 into into f4 a bit further makes a lot of sense. But the bishop there for black on g4 is really putting a lot of pressure down. Hello, methodical here from Ignomin, not wanting to give anything up right now. But either way, we're in a in a bit of a position, I think, where Matt Rabbit has sort of gotten maybe a bit, I don't know, too aggressive is maybe not the right term, but is really playing around this middle area, and it's made it very difficult for further moves to come through that don't hurt that position.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's kind of what you need. You need the balance. You need, especially when both players are trying to control the middle, you can't be too aggressive. We're seeing that trade here coming out for Matt Rabbit. No, sorry, Ignoman. And I think that's probably a good idea. In the position they need to be trying to open up the board. And sorry about the forcing you to solo cast for a minute there.
Oh, good.
Internet issues. Am I right?
The
You
old
never get this
classic.
casting live.
Yeah, never. But I mean, that is unless they just cut the internet, which definitely has not happened to me. Smile. But no. I think that that's an interesting retreat right there, man. What do you think about that one there for queen to e2?
Yeah, I don't see what that move was for. I don't see an issue being then an issue being the queen. Sorry, an issue of the queen being on f3 there, but it must be something long term for Matt Rabbit here. I do really think that he needs to bring that other rook into the middle of the board to try and control the center. Because at the minute, Ignoman is looking quite strong there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Noman's position is not at all bad. Especially, I like the knight there. That positioning, pushing this pawn though is interesting, but the computer seems to like it. I don't know that would have been my first thought to be entirely honest with you, but it is pressuring that queen just a little bit, kind of closing down that lane of attack. So, in fairness, if the rook were to come and kind of hang out in that c file, really could be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, all I could think of that queen moving back is just to cover that pawn from the queen attacking. But yeah, like that pawn to c3 does push forward to the middle of the board and can't put pressure on the d4 square. And in both of these setups, that d4 square is very crucial, especially control for the bishops, the dark square bishops.
Indeed, yeah. And that's the point, right? Like we were talking about, like the whole idea around the Sicilian Open and why it's utilized, why that's a defensive opening, right? And that's exactly what it is, controlling that d4 area and putting your bishops in prime positions to be an attacking force, right? So we are seeing that kind of play out as you would expect, but I mean, look at the time difference already. Ignoman taking a lot of time to think about this because there's not I think, and here's the difficulty that Ignoman is falling into, and I gotta say I feel because I don't know what the right move, quote unquote, is here either, because you're just kind of you're stuck at a position where the most correct move isn't entirely obvious.
No, I think there are definitely a few okay moves, but
Oh,
there
that's one
being
of them.
one textbook move is very difficult to tell. And I do think that's a decent move, opening up the rook to an active position. The computer didn't like it, but I think it was okay. But maybe I'm dumb. So who knows?
I actually would agree with you. I think that wasn't too shabby, though. I think pushing this pawn is interesting because it kind of, I mean, it's in fairness, it's what Matt Rabbit has been doing the whole game,
Mhm.
and also stacking these two pawns and putting a white pawn in front of those two pawns would be a really problematic position for Ignoman. But just in general, that really weakens that d4 position that you were talking about, right? And I think that's the goal of pushing that pawn. But with the rook coming in for backup, again, seeming a bit more interesting. I kind of feel like it would have been a bit more powerful if it was rook to d8.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Yeah, putting pressure on that d5 square, and overall taking pressure of the d4 square, which is kind of where they want to be, with their two black square bishops. Matt Rabbit opening up the queen trade here. Sorry, the queen trade.
See, but this is, I feel like, two very wasted moves for this queen, right? Like we saw the queen move to e2 for no apparent reason, and now just opening up the queen trade, which is, I mean, it's perfectly fine at this stage of the game, I think, but also, seemingly odd to take that at this moment, especially when there's so much happening there in the middle of the board.
Exactly. And something I would like to say, that Ignomin didn't take that pawn, and it kind of that would open up the game completely. It would give one of them the d4 control, and overall, it's probably a good idea that he didn't take. Neither one of them wants to make that first move and be the aggressor, and he decides to decline the trade of the queens, which I think is a good idea for Ignomin, because every time Matt Rabbit has been opening up and offering those trades, he's been taking them, and it's not been working out for him.
So is now there any reason not to go knight c5?
I don't see any. I don't think.
I think that's just a free hanging pawn.
Yeah, it's a hanging pawn. He doesn't see it.
Oh, unfortunate not to see that. But I mean, that's okay. The fallback is not the worst, but it does open up. I mean, we've been talking about it all game. This d4 control now been gifted over once again, and that knight in d4 is quite threatening.
Yeah, exactly, and it's putting a lot of pressure onto the c2 and the e2 squares. And if you notice that e2 square, it could easily create a fork with the king. Sorry, a pin, not a pin.
No,
yeah,
it's a fork. It's a
fork. A fork. Yeah, right. Yeah, another thing I want to mention is you look at the clocks. You mentioned it earlier briefly, but Matt Rabbit has had the control of the time and been putting the time pressure on Ignomin every single game.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's playing any sort of part of how Ignomin is playing. I don't know. All the games have finished with quite a lot of time left, but this game is very close and it's very. No one wants to make the first move, so this is kind of where time is going to make a difference.
Well, here's the thing: it's a match point.
True.
And so that's the additional pressure for Ignomin. Does finally see the hanging pawn there, but is it too little, too late? It's now just the old trades, left, right, and center, queen for queen, and then the trade obviously with the bishop. And I mean, again, back to a relatively solid move. Oh, this is a great move. Great move here. It's a nice fork.
Yeah,
One of these going
really
down.
Nice.
Really well done here by Matt Rabbit to find this move.
And where is the best move for Ignomin here? He's got to move his rook, right? Okay.
Wants to keep the bishop. According to the engine, best move on that one. So I thought either one was fine, honestly, but it's interesting that is the best move mathematically. So moving the bishop over there.
I could see that.
Yeah, well, I think it's important because it allows additional realms of attack towards the white king by having the color square bishop still available, right? Exactly. Yeah, what I was just mentioning. You have that bishop available to take that attacking lane and be a threat.
Exactly. And he can use that dark square bishop to push his knight forward and attack the king.
Exactly. And I mean, the main thing here, though, for Matt Rabbit, 2 pieces ahead, has very much kind of stolen a rook away. And I mean, this is a bit of a troubling scenario. Putting pressure on this rook, but I mean, this pressure seems insincere, if you will. It's not real pressure. It's just aha! I have gotten you, only for you to move out of my way.
Yeah.
And now I shall fall back.
He looks kind of lost. He kind of looking for a move to make a difference in the
chest.
game.
That's the knight pumping up his chest. That's what I see.
Hmm. And I still am looking for that pawn take on on the c5 or c4.
True. Well, now it's so much more powerful as well.
Exactly. And the fewer pieces there are, these dark square bishops are coming more even stronger in this game.
Yeah, that
Knights
they are.
Knights a good early game, and bishops a good late game. Having that open, the open files, really strong for the bishops.
And this is an interesting move there. Just Matt Rabbit not wanting to get caught out in any way with that that bishop that you were talking about being very strong on the dark square. So um, you know, now I wouldn't be surprised to see the white bishop moving into a more attacking position. Um, and indeed, there we
There you
are.
go. Yep, cool.
Very
And they're
classic.
forcing moves out of each other, and these moves aren't really doing too much. But now that dark square bishop does have that space,
I mean, to be fair, the rook there, whilst I would typically agree with you, it is just a bit of posturing from either side. You look at the time. The time is not on the side at all of Ignoman in this scenario. And did he just hang a? Okay, no. Best
Okay.
move according to Engine. Oh yeah, I do see it.
Yeah.
Very good. I missed that one in live moments. This is why I'm glad we got the backup.
Exactly. takes, and the pawn moves up.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
This is an unfortunate position to be in. This is Fork Central, basically. I mean,
Exactly.
you're just, if you don't take the bishop, then you're forked between the knight and, well, okay, I guess.
And he's going to move the bishop away, I believe, or yeah, maybe take.
Yeah, I think best move is probably the pawn. The pawn takes on c6.
Yeah, because it's still a pin there on the rook.
Yeah. I don't think that's horrible either.
No.
Just pushing forward this pawn, it adds additional pressure. And once it goes up to b5, then, or I mean, we're talking a big problem.
Exactly. And the pawns are on the left side of the board here, are looking so strong for white.
And there goes all the pressure, right? The rook moves out, and now the pinch is no longer in effect, and so it's an easy swing. I think this just leaves open. Do you just trade out the bishop and the knight here?
Or trade out the rooks, maybe.
Yeah, true. You could trade out the rooks too.
Yep.
I mean, actually, yeah, I think rook trade's probably best here because the bishop's so strong. Interesting. Okay. Now you just rook trade. Yeah, there it is. Understood. Makes sense. Though, I think in fairness, Ignoman probably got out of that best case scenario.
Yeah, and the pin
Oh,
is
boy.
open for the rook.
That's unfortunate. And he's
And
found it too.
I would like to say that I kind of want to know how far ahead Matt Rabbit knew that was coming. Because I think he saw that in his head. I think he had that
made
planned.
that decision super fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally he had it pre-moved, so there was no question. Though he is taking some time to mull over the actual take. Yeah, B3. Yeah, that's very true. I agree. G3 coming in is a possibility, but it's hard to say what like the most correct move is, but I don't think that you're really going wrong here if you're Matt Rabbit, regardless of what your decision is, unless you just blunder a piece somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the only way that Ignoman is going to be coming back into this game. And I think if you're Matt Rabbit, you just need to be playing the simple moves. Moves that you know are going to work and put Ignoman under time pressure.
Don't get fancy with it. He's got 52 seconds, Smith.
Exactly. And
he's still taking a lot of time. Okay, he finally does make a decision with 2
go.
minutes on that clock.
I think they were both valid options, but I don't think
Yeah.
there would have been too much difference between the two. So
So do you just? Oh yeah, okay.
there we go.
They all. Yeah, no attempt there either, and I mean that's unfortunate, right? You give away that night, and that really is, I mean that's really is where the game is just unwinnable, realistically. As I mean that's Matt Rappit taking it in 3-1 fashion. It's as I believe that should be game set and match if I'm not mistaken, as it's
Mhm.
BO5. So
No
congratulations.
draws. No draws.
No draws at all. We were memeing the whole time about the potential for the 15 draw games, but no, none whatsoever. Not that I'm complaining, but still, none
No.
whatsoever. Ignomin putting up a solid fight, but Matt Rabbit's aggression simply unmatched.
No, exactly. And I think Matt Rabbit, you could tell looking very, very confident right at the bat. And then I'm not sure if Ignomin was taken a bit by surprise, but it kind of felt that way.
If I was to jump into the head of Ignomin there for just a moment, and this is purely speculation, but it felt like Ignomin had those openings down very well, knew what he wanted to do in the opening stages, but when Matt Rabbit threw a wrench into those opening plans, that's when he really started to struggle. So the game that Ignomin won was where the openings were basically allowed to happen unabated. Nobody
Yeah.
really doing anything weird, and so
And
that really allowed for it really allowed for him to come up victorious.
the two games that the first two games that Matt Rabbit won, he kind of played something unconventional, and I think with a lot of chess players, when you play something unconventional and they're not used to, it's very, very difficult to play against because
You
you
gotta
don't
think in the
really have an
moment.
answer. You might not be able to read about it. You might not have heard about it before. You don't know what the best line to play against it is from the style you're playing. And especially the second game that Matt Rabbit won, I don't think Ignomin had an idea. Like,
No, I mean it was comprehensive there in that second one, but either way, 3-1 the score line there, and Matt Rabbit taking the victory, and of course the $1,000 in scholarship prizes as well. Love to see that, and congratulations. But we are going to head to a short little break. We're going to have an interview, I assume, with Matt Rabbit right after this. So if you all would stay tuned, we're going to be back in just a few seconds with that one.
And hello, we are back with HSEL chess. And I just want to say, stay tuned for the Intel's Winners Circle, an invitational tournament beginning June 14th to 25th, where some of the biggest and best esports teams nationwide will compete over $50,000 in prizes, including a guaranteed $1,000 in scholarships to every participating school's esports team. The matches for top teams for Overwatch, Valorant, Smash, and yeah, that's it. Will be streamed live on Twitch here on Twitch TV/Generation Esports.
Awesome stuff. Love to see it. So make sure to hop in there. But
Yeah.
well, I mean, we've got some awesome stuff left here today as well, don't we, Meth? We have the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Rabbit, coming
The
in
Matt
after
Rabbit.
this 3-1 victory in the grand finals. We've got him here for an interview. Matt, how are you doing today? How are you feeling off the back of that victory?
You know, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling so pumped. I've been preparing for weeks for this, and now the dream just come true. It's amazing.
Well, okay, let's start there then. You've said you've been preparing for weeks. What sort of preparation have you been putting in? I mean, imagine you're reading up on your openings and everything like that, but kind of walk me through what's the training regimen look like, Matt?
You know, I'll sit down with my coach. My coach is amazing. He'll spend all the time I need. We'll sit down, we'll play a few games, we'll talk about it, we'll talk about the mentality I should have coming into it. We'll talk about, of course, openings, in-game, mill games, and all that. And so it's a lot of just sitting down and talking through it because it's all mental.
And do you want to give your coach a shout out, Matt?
I do. Shout out Coach Smith, Chase Smith at Heritage High School Esports. He's just the greatest. Like I said, sit down and do everything. He helped me with, we played a lot of the reverse Sicilian close, which we played twice today, and I won both of those. And so it's been so much help.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna go off that because we noticed that as well. You play in the reverse Sicilian to perfection, by the way, doing a very good job with it. So you had a lot of experience with that then with your coach. Is that right?
Yeah, we spent hours on it. Usually something I have troubles on, that's like the only openings he'll play, and then I'll be almost perfect like you saw today.
Hey, props to that. I mean, but let me talk maybe a little bit more generally, Matt. You really did a great job of taking some aggressive stances against Ignomen, making their life quite tough, to be honest with you. Forcing some difficult decisions early with those trades. Was that kind of your game plan? Was to be aggressive, or did that just kind of was that just kind of a result of how passive Ignomen was playing, plus the openings you were looking at?
You know, I come into every game. The first game is always the game to read my opponent. And usually on the second game, I always play aggressive. I'm a very aggressive player. I love to play without my queen because other opponents don't know how to do that. So it's just setting the board up for me to succeed.
Yeah, and we saw that quite often. We saw you try and take those early trades for the queen or like offering it, and Ignomen kind of clocked onto that and stopped accepting the trade in that last game.
Yeah.
And how much did that kind of affect you in that last game? I know you still won, but that last game looked a lot closer.
Oh, it was tough. That night caused me problems. it was throwing my pieces around. I was just trying to make sure I kept a stable defense. And once that night got out, I was able to come back. Like you said, he wasn't really trading pieces once he learned my tactics. And so I had to think of a new plan. And it's just on that fly experience. And I was able to come in and dominate.
Yeah, well, I mean, Myth, any other questions before we start to close this down?
Yeah, I do have one more. Every single game you were up on time, and how much of that do you plan? Do you plan to play quickly and put your opponent under pressure, or does that just or did that happen like just by mistake? Not by mistake, but just by natural causes.
I always like to play at a fast-paced opening. It's something I like to study on. Some great
Mhm.
chess players will say that openings aren't that important to study on, but I think it lets you control the pace of the game and ultimately the game itself. So I love to study those, and I'll be up 9 minutes. My opponent's at 7 minutes, and I'll have time to think when I go into the more strategic middle game.
Yeah, that's really well said, and honestly, we're really happy to have you here for the interview, Matt. But unfortunately, it is about wrapping up here. One last question I do have for you: anyone else that you would like to shout out, say hello to before we let you go?
Shout out all the teachers and students at Heritage High School. They literally pushed me through this, giving me all their support. People like Coach Gonzalez and Jake, and they just helped me out so much.
Well, it's awesome to hear, and
Mhm.
thank you so much, Matt, for coming in here, playing an awesome game, and again, congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
All righty. Well, Myth, it is just about that time to, unfortunately, as I have a tear in my eye, say goodbye. But before we do that, we are going to take a look at the schedule that we tend to see. That is not a schedule.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
$1,000. I wish that I could have had that, but no,
Yeah.
we've just been baited. It's been a bait from me. It's okay.
We've got
I'm crying. It's fine.
That's okay though. We have HSEL all week, so we can just come back and watch more.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Rocket League, of course, was earlier on. To be fair, this
Mhm.
week we had then Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch as well. Today we've had Super Smash and chess, but tomorrow, the creme de la creme, Valorant
Oh yes.
is coming through. Lagday and Dora are going to be bringing you through that one at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's tomorrow, so make sure to be tuning in, same time, same place for that one. But indeed, Myth, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Absolute pleasure getting to cast this one with you. But that is just about the end of our broadcast today. Huge shout out, by the way, to our producer Evanescence, who's doing
Mhm.
a wonderful job helping us out as well.
So great.
But beyond that, thank you so much, everyone, on behalf of everyone here at HSEL. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow for that Valorant broadcast. It's going to be a great time.
It'd be
Absolutely
so good.
high level plays going on. But with that said, my name has been Vincent, joined by Myth, and we will see you here next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.